Hi, David. Okay, move the monitor so I can see it from where I'm sitting. Hey, y'all. So I have one person watching. Hello. So, yes, yesterday, I'm sorry that if it's a little bit shaky, it's a new webcam so that I can do this live a lot easier. So, yesterday, our internet was out. It went down, and the tech guys were working on it, and they worked on it, and they worked on it, and had a couple of other issues that they're still resolving, but I have internet again as of yesterday evening. And instead of trying to edit the video that I had filmed early yesterday morning and get it up um, today, this morning, I decided to go ahead and do a live video because this shows my day yesterday, which was admin, computer tech for like hours on and off. And during that time, I also did do some work. I did do some filming. I did some housework. I took a nap. I watercolored in my A6 Hobonichi for the challenges I need to do today's. So I started with this, and this was yesterday's, and then I need to do today's. And today's prompt is I no longer need and stars. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for the stars, but I'll think of something. Um, but I actually chronicled my breakfast via a video. Why is the camera being wonky? The autofocus thing. Okay. Um, sorry, y'all. This is a brand. When we lose internet, we found out how dependent on it we are. Well, yes, definitely when you are when you do that for a living, when you what you do has to do with the internet. Um, so I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this, and so yesterday, like I said, I did do a lot of planning. Um, what I found out by doing some of this is that I realized I need a cutoff point. So I put a line right here. And then with today, I actually put a line right here. And when I planned next week, I actually went ahead and did a cutoff. I talked about that. Whoa, I talked about that. Um, so on here, it's 8 o'clock. This week, I think I put 7 down. But that way, when people message me on Facebook, oh, what is this wonky thing? That's going to get on my nerves. Okay, stop being wonky. It's on autofocus. It's okay. So, what I have done is give myself a cutoff time. And after 8 o'clock, any work that I do is actual work, not social media. So I won't be checking Messenger. I won't be on Messenger. If the only other option is for me to get rid of Messenger, because the other night I was talking to a patron and trying to fix some things, and while I was talking to the patron, and it was already late and past my bedtime. Hello. So I was up later than I meant to be anyway, but I needed to get that issue resolved, and there wasn't really a whole lot I could do except a little bit. So um, I also was bombarded with like 3 or 4 other people messaging me on Messenger. Um, how often do you read books? I read every day. I read 30 minutes. I try to read 30 minutes in the morning. Sometimes it ends up like anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. And I read before I go to bed at night, and I read at least for 30 minutes. Um, I read every day. I try to read one book a week, but I'm also right now reading multiple books that, you know, I'm reading two nonfiction books and one fiction book, actually. So it really just depends. In the morning, I try to read something that's more self discovery, self help, um, that kind of thing. And then in the evenings, I try to read um, for for pleasure. Well, both of them are sort of for pleasure, but I read fiction usually in the evening, and I read nonfiction usually in the morning. So what I've been trying to do is I don't like all of this color right here. I do like color, don't get me wrong, but I'm realizing that I can block in things that need to be blocked in and then use a highlight. So for example, let's get Victor's color. Green. So for example, Wednesday I pick up Victor from school. And when I pick Victor up, this will be right here. And that's my time with Victor. And it gets blocked off. And that way I'm not highlighting the area. And I just noticed that for some things I need more minimal, more function. And for other things, I'm okay with all the color. Like for the daily page, I'm okay with all the color. So I need to finish filling these in. These are the daily pages, and as you can see, they're taking a life of their own. I'm doing the tracker. One of the things that I realized while filling out the tracker this morning is that I need to be more specific with this tracker for work, like what I'm doing. So when I do next month's, it will be more specific. One of the things that I think I'm going to start doing is using this for some time tracking. And then, or one, I don't know if I can do one real big one, but I may be doing one that goes across both pages. Sorry, it's wobbly, y'all. But I may end up doing one that goes across both pages so I can do list everything. And then I'm thinking though the one thing that is definitely working is this anxiety tracker right here. It's working really well. You are absolutely right to block off time for yourself, but I wonder, are some of your patrons overseas? Yes, and that's a difference. There are some. Oh, please stop with that wonkiness. There are some people that will be an exception to the rule. You know, like I have several people that what would be 7 or 8 o'clock. My time would be 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like in the UK, 6 o'clock my time would be 1 o'clock their time, I believe. So that would be an exception to the rule. But I'm talking about for just anybody messaging me on Facebook. I'm not going to be answering messages on Facebook for people who just want to chat. People message you and they're like, "Hello, how are you?" And I think that that's wonderful and it's friendly and I don't mind. But when I'm in the middle of filming or I'm in the middle of cooking dinner or I'm in the middle of spending time with Mr. Rockstar or I've got Victor, I don't have, I could keep my tablet with me, I suppose, but what kind of quality time would that be with my grandson if every time he looked up, instead of me being right there with him, I hope this is better now. If I were right, instead of being right there with him, like I should be, I were steady on the tablet, messaging somebody or reading somebody's message. I come from an era where we had real rotary phones, where there weren't any cell phones, where, we weren't tied to technology the way that so many of us are now. I haven't determined how to use an anxiety tracker to improve your situation. I saw this on Pinterest, and most anxiety trackers give you a rating from 0 to 7. I'm not using that. I'm using a regular 0 to 10 when my anxiety feels out of the roof, like it was yesterday with everything not working. And I wrote down tech issues, internet went down, lack of sleep from the night before and that day. I was doing really well. I was getting up in the morning when I had more than enough sleep, and I was getting up and going to bed early, and I did really well. But the last 2 nights, once I get thrown off, it's really hard for me to get back on my sleep schedule. And I've noticed that my sleep schedule, how much sleep I get, actually has a lot to do with my anxiety. So that I've got to be more aware, of my time and make appointments for chats with people that need to happen after, say, 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. Like pick a day once or twice a week for people that live overseas. If I need to talk to somebody who's overseas or something. Because if I don't get in the bed, go to my bedroom at 11 o'clock at night and relax and settle down, excuse me, so that I can get enough sleep, so that I can spend, 10 or 20 minutes doing evening pages and then 30 minutes, doing my reading before I go to sleep, which relaxes me. Then I'm stuck going, what in the world? Edie says you have over 250,000 followers. Are you talking about on Instagram or on Facebook? Or I'm not real big on Instagram. I just started getting more into Instagram. I have the Facebook group Journey with Burgess, YouTube. I have Patreon. I have Patreon's Facebook group. I have my website, the blog, and I am doing right now. I don't really plan much over the weekend except on Sunday when I plan for the rest of the week. So the plan as you go will probably not have a Saturday video. So if I do this correctly, other than yesterday where there was no video, Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, I haven't added it all up. How many followers I have actually all together. But I film every day at least one video. Patreon gets a coffee chat on Tuesdays, and they get 2 videos other than that a week, usually. Sometimes it's a creative video. Sometimes it's a journal with me. Sometimes it's, it could be any number of something that is creative. It could be a collage video. It could be any number of things. But I try to do some kind of creative art journaling kind of video, and then I try to do like a journal with me kind of video. But I'm doing those and editing those. So that's 3 videos for Patreon a week. Stop. Come on, camera. So that's 3 videos for them. And then YouTube on a regular basis gets 3 to 4 videos a week. So I'm filming 6 to 7 videos and editing them a week. That's a video pretty much every single day. And then some days it's actually 2. And that's a lot. It takes a long time. Hello, everybody. It takes a long time to edit a video for me. which is why I wanted to set this up to do more live videos. So this is the first time using the webcam like this. This is a new one. I'm going to have to figure out why it wants to, I guess maybe I'm going to have to set it off of autofocus. It wants to focus on everything. Maybe there's just too much on my desk. But one of the things that I think would be more helpful for me is if, I get better about planning so that I can be better organized, have better time management. And what I've noticed since last month when I started taking more time for myself, and instead of working on videos and filming and editing until 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to get videos for YouTube and Patreon done, and not taking any real time for myself, still filming and editing when it's family time instead of spending time with David or spending time with other people, I've slowed down and started taking more time for me, started spending more quality time with my family instead of going, oh, I can't do that, I got to work, or oh, I can't do that, I got a video to edit, or oh, I can't do that, I got a blog post to write. I'm not doing that anymore. So things have to change. They have to get better. And I understand that the only way to grow and to brand myself and to do this stuff is to get my stuff out there. But there's not a whole lot of point in getting your stuff out there if you burn yourself out. All right. Well, I hope you have a great day. So part of this whole planning system is not just to have a better planning system, but to have a more planned, organized life so that I have better time management, so that my life is better organized. So I don't have to stress over everything that I'm doing, because when I'm doing that, when I'm stressing, it's taking the fun out of it. And I did YouTube and do YouTube. I don't make much money at YouTube at all. I don't have a really stop camera. I don't have a really big following. So I'm pretty much doing this for fun because I enjoy sharing. And every time I get an email or I get a comment or somebody messages me on Instagram or Twitter or even or Facebook or whatever, and they tell me that they picked up a journal again, or they picked up a pen and they started writing their book, or they got their computer out and started writing, or they started drawing, or they created art, or they're back into a journal. Whatever it is that they're doing, if they're being creative again and they haven't been creative for a while, it makes all of that worth it. But I got to the point where I realized when my husband is telling me he's always seeing me sitting at the desk in here and I'm not spending that much time with him when he's home, and he has a wonky schedule. So I actually get a lot of time to myself because of his schedule. But when he's home, he's home. And I've got to be better about scheduling my time so that I can actually spend time with him, and taking Wednesday afternoons off and getting whatever I can get done Wednesday morning. And then, I know I've got to do more. I've heard a lot of people who work from home say the same things. They don't know when to shut off the work from the home, that they're still doing work stuff after work should be over. If you went to a regular job, when you got off, you got off. You don't have to take your work home with you. Well, when you work from home, your work is always with you. So there has to be a little bit better way for me. And I think part of it starts with the planning system. And that's why, like, as I go, I've been adjusting things, because this is sort of like a mind sweep. This, I write down my affirmation. I write down a few things that I know are primary things that I need to do. And then as the day goes by, sometimes I write notes. I have some things listed here, but yesterday was such a day with the internet. You can't do journals. You can't stick to it. I don't know what the Pomodoro technique is. Oh, please stop. Okay, let me get away from here for a minute and let's see if I can go to the controllers for this thing and see if I can fix this. Webcam controller. All right, we're going to take the autofocus off and see if that, because I am on this seeing the words backwards, but I'm hoping that y'all aren't seeing the words. Did I have a troll? Work for 25 minutes and rest for 5. I've heard of that. I mean, I've heard of the Pomodoro, but okay. It is no longer having a hard. Okay. It was on autofocus. So one of the things that I have done is I did this. Pick up, she's supposed to pick up our insurance cards at front desk. Okay. I talked to her at the called. So this gives me a chance to write down things as I go. And I have a video that I'm going to do about the brain dump and the mind sweep and how, and then mind mapping, because this is all brain dump right here. This was the video that I did. This was all my thoughts and stuff about the video for the There's No Perfect Journal, No Perfect Planner video that I did, the coffee chat. So this is working out pretty well, but I realized that some of it I don't really need to put on here, and I could change it up. Do I want to draw one of these things every month? And the answer to that is no. So that's why I'm thinking that for next month, I'm going to do one big tracker for 2 pages, because I was right, and having so many trackers is giving me information and it's helping me, but it's making it more work. So I'm thinking for June, having my tracker go across both pages. Because I could technically use this tracker that's in the very front of the Hobonichi, but I don't think that this isn't enough. Even if I use the bottom boxes, it's not enough. So, and I'm not utilizing it. So maybe what I'll do, because I'm not writing my words down, maybe what I'll do is put a little sticker over this and redo this. And then I'll do some other kind of tracking here. And I'll separate, because this isn't, I'm not utilizing it, to be honest. Your sister's here and you're off for family time. Thank you, Susan. Have a great time with your sister. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good weekend. David's birthday is Sunday. So tomorrow we are going to family's house right down the road to spend his birthday with his mom and dad and maybe some of his siblings, his sisters and his brother-in-laws. And then Sunday we're going to my mom's. And my daughter and Victor are going. I'm not sure if her boyfriend's going or not. Hello. But then we're going Sunday to my mom's and we're going to celebrate his birthday there. But Sunday also happens to be my parents' 42nd anniversary. My mom and my stepdad, 42. Yeah. Because I'll be 51 in July. So they'll have been married 42 years. And this will be her first anniversary since he passed away in October. And I'm trying to spend all of these holidays that are with her, so she's not alone for her first, it's really hard on her. She lost a husband when I was little. She lost my daddy, and now she's lost another one. And I know, it's hard enough for me, but I can't imagine what she's going through. So that's where I'm at with this. I realized that once I started looking at the Hobonichi in a different way, I have realized how wonderful it can be in conjunction with my Omni Journal, which is a combination of commonplace journaling and stuff. And I really do enjoy. Okay, I'll tell him happy birthday. Thank you. really do enjoy creating the artwork in the setups. I really do. I loved doing, oh, let's see. I love doing the guitar. Okay, what? There we go. I loved doing the guitar and that little book. And then doing like things like little microphone and the tambourine. And I still can't think of what that thing is called. The little triangle with the thing you ring it with. So, and I like being able to put little things on here if I want to. And then if not, I can do things like watercolor. It's not overly complicated. I have started streamlining the days though. Like this, I put Sunday and Monday on here. I liked these, but that took too much space doing a whole bunch of circles, which is why I think I'm going to try this. And we'll see how it goes. I like this shell looking one. There's a name for that. I can't think of it right this minute, of course, because I'm trying to think of it. So where I'm at is figuring out like David's party here. So I'm going to be filming Sunday on Saturday morning or Saturday evening. And then that way, because my mom lives an hour and a half away. So you're talking extra time traveling. And then this way I can get the weekly set up. And I blocked, like I said, this is morning routine. So there's no reason for me to write morning routine every day. I mean, that would be redundant. And that takes extra time that I don't need. And the purple is the evening routine. And then I can actually write extra bits down here. And this way I know what this is how things ought to go. And then in the daily pages, this is how they really go. Like this day completely got off track. Completely. Because of me being on the phone with the technician and all of that. You know? But I'm liking how this is working out because I can clearly see where my time is going, and that has been really helpful. The time tracking has been really helpful. You don't realize how much time you spend on social media until you start tracking it. Checking Facebook groups, checking Facebook pages, checking Pinterest, checking Twitter, checking Instagram. You don't realize how much time you spend on social media until you start tracking your time. And you actually write it down. I mean, I could, I don't have a color for social media, but I'm much less likely to be sucked into social media now because for a while I was tracking it with one basic color till I changed my color code. But I am going to add a color, and I think I'm going to pull it from the Tombos, and I'm going to make it an obnoxious color for when I'm just BSing around on social media. And that way it will really stand out, you know, because it is crazy how much of a time suck it can be. And if I'm procrastinating by watching Netflix or procrastinating by pondering Facebook groups and Pinterest, and it's not because I'm looking for something specific or I've went on to check in and see how things are going and just kind of went in and done what I need to do and get back off. But when it's just a time suck and I'm just on there, you know, because I don't want to be doing what I know I need to be doing, then it's a time suck. So it really just depends because I watch YouTube videos for inspiration and motivation, and I don't consider that to be a time suck. Usually I'm journaling or figuring out a layout and practicing something while I'm doing those videos. I listen to podcasts, and a lot of times that's when I do some journaling or I do some writing, because I can listen to somebody else and do something and write or journal or create art, but I cannot write and talk. I cannot talk and create art. I cannot film and talk and create art, or film and plan, or film and do much of anything if I'm actually doing like writing or drawing or whatever. I can't talk and do that at the same time. I cannot seem to. You really love how you said that you are your project for right now. I am my project. That's Project Self. I started that in April, and I am a work in progress, but I've got to be a better, happier, healthier me. I told David this morning, I said, I have a headache. And I told him one of the couple of reasons why I was grumpy. And I said, this has got to stop. And I said, and I was doing so good. It's just the first week of May, and I've screwed up my sleep routine. My biorhythms are all off again, which affects my anxiety. And I cannot do that anymore. I cannot. That's one of the reasons why my anxiety's been so bouncing back and forth, is that since he started this schedule of rotating shifts, because he works days and then he'll work nights and then he'll work days, I have been bouncing back and forth with his. And it's really taken a toll on me. And he said, baby, you need to get your own schedule together, and maybe we can find some kind of compromise negotiation. When I was younger, staying up late on the weekends till 2 and 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I was bartending, or, we'd go do karaoke, or we'd go watch a band, or, up until even a couple of years ago. And it really took a toll on me, and I have to do better. You're trying to write every day to get at 20K at the end of the month. You have 12,180 words. You have a writometer daily goal of 7,020 words. A daily goal of 7,000? That's a lot of words a day, if that's your daily goal. Good sleep and a proper dedicated quiet time are very important for you to. Yeah. And I wasn't really doing that. And I charged my Fitbit and I got it working, and then it died again. I don't know if it needs a new battery. It's not holding a charge. I need a new Fitbit. So I went right back to wearing my regular watch, because the Fitbit's pretty much a POS. So, yeah. I really liked that Fitbit because it would keep track of my sleep, how much sleep I got, and it kept track of my steps, and everything. And I don't have the right at $200 to get another one. So that sucks, because it didn't last but about a year and a half. So I don't know. I guess I need to save once I get all these other things taken care of, and then just get me some kind of, not an Apple one because I can't afford Apple, but some kind of smartwatch. But I think keeping track of things is better. And until I can get a smartwatch, I'll just keep track of how far I walk and how long I walk, like the time and the miles that I walk every day. And then I'll keep track of my sleep by putting a little notation of what time I go to sleep and then what time I wake up. And I'm noticing that the healthier I eat, the better I feel. Since I quit drinking soda, no pop, no Coca-Cola, no Dr. Pepper, no nothing. I don't hardly ever, and I don't drink beer, so I don't drink any kind of carbonated beverage anymore. And I do drink wine like every now and then, but I've noticed that every time I drink a cup of coffee or two, you can't afford a watch. Your Samsung Health. I don't know what that is, but I'll look that up. I have my Samsung tablet, so if there is an app, but see, I don't have data on my tablet. I have Wi-Fi. Like I can get my home Wi-Fi on it. But if I walk 2 miles in the evening and 1 mile in the morning. So as long as I continue to do that, and then every month I'm increasing how much I walk and how fast I walk. So I just started power walking, and before that I was just doing a little bit of fast walking, but I just started power walking. So the less amount of time it takes me to walk my 2 miles in the evening, my 1 mile in the morning, when I get to a point where it's not taking me, say, 30 minutes to walk the 2 miles, when instead it takes me 15 minutes to walk 2 miles, then I know I'm doing a lot better. Then when the time gets broken in half, then it's time for me to add an extra mile. So I'm about to the point where I think probably next week or the week after, I'm going to add the mile to in the morning. So I'm walking 2 miles in the morning and 2 miles in the evening. My goal is by the end of May to hopefully be walking a total of like 5 miles. I'd like to at least walk a mile or two in the morning, and then walk 5 miles in the evening, and have it only take me, say, 30 minutes or something, where I can actually seriously power walk, where I'm more running than walking. And you're right, Edie. I can't afford. I see all of the technology, and I'm like, evidently, I need a second job, just to afford all the technology. I mean, let's not even talk about the art supplies. I need a third job. So, I was looking at some colors that are on my list of colors I would like to get. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm still on the no spend because I have to get my dental work done. So I pulled out the big thing of my watercolors where I store all of them. And I was like, you know what? This is just going to have to do. It's more than enough colors. All you really need are the basic colors. And you can mix any colors. So I'm actually excited though, because I have been more creative in the last month and this month so far. I've been more creative doing different things. I'm back to doing journal prompts and personal prompts. I chose to do Boho Berry's challenge. Finally, again, I don't like the prompts. I like the prompts, but I don't like the prompts, if that makes sense. When I'm in the mood, I love prompts. I love them. They're so helpful. They really help me and inspire me and motivate me. But when I'm not in the mood, it's like, it just seems like one more thing that I don't follow through with, one more thing that I start and don't finish, one more thing that I get distracted away from, that distracts me from something else. And I'm tired of beating myself up. So I decided to do prompts. I found some prompts that looked really, one was Write Down Project Self's Alley, which was Boho Berry's challenge. The other is the Doodle Wash challenge. Enough different stuff for the Doodle Wash challenge that I could sketch or watercolor or both or whatever. And since I had the little A6 Hobonichi, I decided I might as well. I've got a bunch of little sketches where I was doing prompts back in January. And I never watercolored them. I did some quotes. I did some drawings. I did all kinds of things. And it was a lot of fun. But I stopped. And I didn't watercolor them in. That was when we had the flat tire. And then I stopped right at the end of January, and I haven't done any journal prompts. That's what this journal is for at all. So I have some space to kind of play with some prompts. Self-imposed pressure. Yes, exactly. So I decided to pick something that could be fun. And the Doodle Wash Challenge, I've got to print them out. I just wrote the first 6 days worth here. The Doodle Wash Challenge was things like flowers, chocolate, breakfast, stars, paint. Paint. It just says paint. So you could choose any flower you wanted. Like the whole month isn't just dogs, which I would never do. The whole month isn't like any one certain kind of flower or just flowers. I can break it up with a bunch of different flowers. Whenever it says a flower, I don't have to do the same flower. And with the boho berry challenge, I've noticed I read what it was, and this boho berry challenge goes right along with what I'm reading in Craft a Life You Love. I'm following along with Cindy Gwintart Baldo in her Llama's Lettering book thing, and this challenge is following right along with sort of where I'm at with this book. And it's been really helpful so far, I think. The challenge, like yesterday was I forgive myself for. And I wrote, I forgive myself for not being perfect. And I wrote the Maya Angelou quote that was in the Craft a Life You Love, because I just finished that forgiving that section in the book. And one of the things I realized is that I've got to give myself some deadlines, but I've got to stop pressuring myself for things that are unrealistic. Either I cut down the amount of video I do, or I do more live videos where I don't have to edit. And I paid attention to what Romany said, and I now have a webcam to do live videos with where I can do this. Where even if I'm not live, I can film it with the webcam where I'm not constantly hitting record every 8 minutes and trying to pay attention and not getting into the zone. I can record what I'm doing and then go through and time lapse and do a voiceover. I can't art and talk, and I know art is not a proper verb, but I cannot art and talk at the same time. I have a hard enough time doing the planning and talking at the same time. I can't do drawing or painting or anything and talk at the same time. Cannot. So when I do the journal with me's for Patreon, a lot of times they have voiceover, because I end up giving them like a chat. I talk about what I'm doing, but I'm also rambling in between because I have ADHD and hello distraction. And I'll see something on the screen that I'm doing and I'll want to talk about it. Or an idea will pop up in the middle of while I'm talking about what I'm doing that's on the video, and an idea will pop up and I'll go, hey, what do y'all think about blah, blah, So you get the same sort of talk that a lot of people are able to do while they journal or plan when they don't do a voiceover. But for me, I was giving myself all this pressure because I couldn't do it that way. I still cannot do it that way. And I'm not going to force myself to try anymore. I'm going to do what I do. And what I do is I can actually plan as I go and talk a little. You're going to get pauses. But I have a really hard time doing it with art, like really hard time. And I was putting all this pressure on myself to do it like some other people do it, but I realized I can't do it that way. And the moment that I quit trying to force myself to do, I felt a lot better. I realized I drew my bowl of Rocky Road ice cream and it looks more like a bowl of Rocky Road cookies. Did I get mad at myself because it looks more like a bowl of cookies than ice cream? Nope. It looks like a damn good bowl of Rocky Road something. These are for fun. I had a piece of homemade buttermilk bread that I toasted for breakfast yesterday with a boiled egg and a banana and some peach mango juice. And that's what I had for breakfast. And my wisteria are growing like other beautiful out in my yard. And I actually have a picture. And let's see if I can find my journal without. Maybe not. Maybe it's in the living room. It might be in the living room. Yeah. If you want to hold on for a second, I will show you the drawings because I actually have pictures of my wisteria. So hold on just a second. Yep. Yep. Thank you. For the I love those drawings. Okay, so it's finished, y'all. I've got to do little A tag. Okay, so that's where I did the hawk that killed one of the doves that we've been feeding in the yard. And this was the start to May. And I have the tab to put on here. I just haven't put it on here yet. So this is what I did for the beginning of May. For the last day of April, this is where May is starting. So I did something a bit different than my norm. I did watercolor in the background and I added some collage stuff. And then this I haven't finished. I had some stuff on it, some journaling and some watercolor, and I've added some bunch of different watercolor to it. And I don't know what else I want to do to it, but I want to do something to it because you can see the words underneath. But I'm not sure if I want to write over it with a white pen or if I want to do something else. And I just haven't made up my mind yet what I want to do. So this was April supplies and thoughts, what I thought about. I'm back to using a lot of my favorites from the very beginning of what I used to do. So I'm back to using things like my watercolors more, pictures, my Zig clean color real brush, pen marker, whatever you call those. I use those a lot when I'm using the Tomaway River paper. And then this is actually where May starts right here. And I cut some of the stuff out of magazines. And it says, be your own legend. That was a quote by Natasha Poley. And this is author suggestions because I'm writing my own story kind of thing. And I did the watercolor and the paint where that does. And then this is looking into the future. Share your memories. We want to hear your ideas. Make your vision become a reality. I sort of just created my own little quote out of different words from the magazine. And when you flip this over, this says, Hello, May. And I just wrote that I was really happy to welcome in May. I did watercolor on this, and then I wrote over it with one of my fountain pens. And how I'm letting go and getting out of my comfort zone more. And the plan as you go for YouTube, actually, it should be, they call it a plan as you go, but it should be really a plan as I go because you're planning as, I'm planning as I go. I'm not planning as you go. I don't know. It just seems weird to say plan as you go. So it is it's a bit of a different thing for me, and it's broken up some of the, like the monotony, but it is a lot of work, y'all. It is a lot of work. So this is where May 2nd started. And Wednesday I had Victor and I did, here's my wisteria right here. And that's Victor playing in the yard. And this is A Day Without Laughter is a Day Wasted. This is Instant Rockstar Just Add Coffee. And I ordered Mr. Rockstar one in Midnight Blue. And when the guy said that it had made a mistake and they sent this one out instead of paying, I guess the order, they didn't pay attention to the whole thing. So I have Mr. Rockstar got his. It was part of his birthday present. And his is Midnight Blue. And it says this on the front and the back. But mine, so I got one too. So, and he said, well, you are a rock star. So Instant Rockstar Just Add Coffee. But his says it on the front and the back. And his is Midnight Blue, like this beautiful, almost a indigo color. And the letters on his are in white. His is a much prettier mug. So Amy Graham sent me some Happy Mail, and some postcards were in the Happy Mail. And this is one of the ones that I really love this. It says, "Life is easy to chronicle, but bewildering to practice," by E.M. Forster. So I put that right here, and then you open this up, and I have pictures of me and Victor. Victor helping his mom DIY some furniture. My roses, Victor on my way to go get Victor. And this was me checking out something Victor was doing. We went to McDonald's and I got him a Happy Meal, and he had apple slices and yogurt and I think the chicken nuggets, and they don't have the Snoopy stuff anymore. So he got this humpback whale stuffed animal thing, and it came with a little card. And did you know? So I drew what he got, and I drew the little flowers, the wild flowers he picked out in the yard for me. And it says a baby humpback whale drinks up to 130 gallons of milk each day. That's more than 2,000 glasses of milk a day. Victor was wowed by how much a humpback whale drinks, how much milk. And I put the card. He didn't want the card. He gave me the card to put in my journal. Okay, y'all? He gave me the card to put in my journal, so I did. And I watercolored the humpback whale, the little flowers that he gave me, that he picked for me out of the neighbor's yard, the edge of the neighbor's yard. They haven't cut their grass in a couple of weeks. So they have these little wild flowers with purple on them. And he picked those for me and gave them to me. So I actually did 2 tip-ins. How about that? I did 2 tip-ins. And I need to do yesterday's page. I'm going to be filming what I do for yesterday's page for Patreon. And that's what I'm doing with the journal. I mean, I'm adding different things. I'm not doing the same thing all the time. I love this, and this is kind of what people know me for. But I also like adding different things. I don't like doing the same thing all the time. I've been adding more tip-ins. I've been changing things up a bit sometimes. I never did write on that page. I've just been doing different things. And sometimes it's all about the mood. See, there's the little timer. I really started using the timer in April for camp. The timer was suggested by Allie. And I have paint on my timer, y'all. When I took her Plan Your Peace course. And the timer's been really helpful, because before that I just used like the computer or my phone or whatever when I was doing word sprints. So I've been doing, and I don't have very much left in this journal. It looks like there's more, but this is where the last page would be. And I just talked to Bree about getting another one, because this part looks thick, but it's mixed media paper, because this journal has Tomaway River paper and mixed media paper in it. And this was so nice. I love this, but I did switch things out, because I started using this one to hold it, because this has that pocket right here, and it will slide in there. Having the string on the front and the back, having the string right here was messing up this part, and it actually like broke a string where it ties, and I had to sew it. And I don't know how Bree did that, those sewing, but my job was, you could see my strings hanging, but I wanted to keep it together, and I'm not cutting the strings because yeah. So when I'm done with it, maybe I'll put some tape on it. I have packing tape. Maybe I'll put some packing tape over it so that it won't damage it. But see, that happened. And that happened because of the strings. So the string where you hold the traveler. See, it doesn't really matter on this, because this is all mixed media paper, and it is sewn right there. It doesn't have that many signatures like that. This is just one of her inserts. but if it happens to me again, then maybe I'll won't get such a chunky journal. But I love these journals, y'all. I love these journals. This is my second one I will have filled up. And I have the one that she made for me that I use as my artist date, where I just do art, because this has just mixed media paper in it. And I really like being able to do different things. So it's time for me to go on an artist date and have David film it again. So, okay, well, it looks like I've been on here for right an hour. I'm going to go because we have some errands to run. It is his birthday weekend, and I'm going to take the camera and do a bit of filming for Patreon while I'm out, because every now and again I do behind the scenes, day in the life kind of stuff for them, vlog kind of stuff. And I feel really good about where I'm headed with my art and my journaling. I'm no longer thinking that I have to do anything a certain way, like this journal for this or this journal for that. If I feel like doing something in a journal, I'm doing it. I'm not giving myself stupid rules. Not giving myself stupid rules that I'm a rule breaker and I should know better than to give myself asinine rules to follow when I'm not going to follow. The minute you tell me not to do something, I want to try it. The minute you say you can't do, like a lot of people are like, oh, well, you can't really do collage with watercolor. BS. You can do mixed media. You can do collage with anything. You might have to be careful about what kind of glue you use, or you might have to be careful about, like, you can't just add water. Like, watercolor is not, unless you use really opaque. And I could use those the Arteza watercolors for the really opaque, because those colors are really opaque. But there's, if you really want to do something, you can find a way to do it. So you got like 2 minutes worth of questions, maybe, if I have time. I will have been on here an hour. I know this wasn't all about planning, but I do more than just planning. And I figure if y'all have some questions, can give you a few minutes to go through the questions. Y'all let me know. And I know there's like a little bit of a lag. There's a little bit of a lag, but that's pretty much what I've been doing lately, is trying to work on better systems all the way around. Okay, so still looking at that. Okay. No questions, y'all? Would y'all like for me to do a Q&A video? I can do a Q&A, and I could create it as a coffee chat, or I can create it as a voiceover and do the chat as a voiceover to time lapse of some journaling, if y'all would like. Whichever way y'all would like to do it. If you want to do a Q&A, if you've got some questions, you can, if you're not in the Journey with Burgess Facebook group, you can do the questions on Instagram or on Twitter, or just do them in the comments of this video if it's easier. Do you use blotting paper with your fountain pens? Sometimes when I'm actually writing and I don't want the fountain pen ink and I to smudge, I have blotting paper and I do use it. The wettest ink I have there's a couple of different ones, but one of the wettest inks I have is this one that I never can pronounce. I have these two are sort of the wettest. This Rose Scented Ink by Herbine is a really wet ink. This Irizuzuku, the turquoise ink, is pretty wet. I use platinum carbon ink. And it is a bit wet if you use anything other than an extra fine or fine. But it does, mine dries quickly. You will smear, turn the page. Tomaway River paper has that coating on it. It dries much faster on the 68 GSM Tomaway River paper than it does the 52 GSM, maybe because of the difference. But I found that when I'm working in actual Hobonichis, you'll see me sometimes if you watch the videos, I use the heat gun on the ink instead of trying to blot, because I don't have a lot of patience and I want a quick drying ink. I don't have time to wait. I use my platinum carbon desk pen that I hacked. I made shorter, and it is an extra fine nib, and it dries pretty quick when you put it down. I've noticed when I use the TWSBI Echoes, the ink seems to be wetter with those pens. So I'm not drawing as much with those pens now. I used to draw with those pens all the time, but I'm back to pretty much drawing with the Faber-Castell pens or the platinum carbon. There's one of my Pilot Pereiras has platinum carbon ink in it, and it's a fine, and I'll draw with it sometimes. But I've noticed that I find it easier to draw with the fine or extra fine nibs because it's not so much ink and the lines aren't so bold. And now when I want a bold line, I have to use a blotter or I have to use the heat gun. And you can't really do a heat gun when you're out in the field, when I'm at Starbucks drawing or out at a park drawing or writing for that matter, because I write with a fountain pen too. When I handwrite my novel, I write with a fountain pen. So yeah. Thanks for asking the question though. I probably need to get some more blotting paper. I have some construction paper, and construction paper will work as blotting paper. If you're curious, I mean, I'm maybe regular. The blotting paper that you buy is probably better, but I do know that for me, construction paper works pretty well as blotting paper, and it's a whole lot cheaper. I could buy a whole pack of construction paper and use it for bits and pieces of background stuff on journal pages and all different kinds of DIY projects with Victor and stuff, but it works pretty well as blotting paper. To me, construction paper works better than, like, say, cardstock or whatever. It's, I guess, the fiber of the paper. And I'm all about finding budget things, budget-friendly things. Anybody else got any questions? Because it's now 5 after, so I've been talking even longer. Rambly, chatty me. That was one of the questions. The 5 things about you on the first thing. I put creative, chatty, curly Q, caring, and crafty. Construction paper is a great tip. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. It feels, the construction paper feels just like blotting paper to me. My blotting paper was pink. I think it came from Nanami paper, and it's a little tiny bit thinner than the construction paper I bought, but it's the same feeling. It feels the same. Fibrous paper, maybe is the word. All right, y'all. If there's no more questions, I will be back with a plan as you go on Sunday. I will not be doing plan as you goes on Saturday unless I actually have some extra time. And I want to do a live video. I want to do a live video. I think I wrote it down on the 14th for YouTube. That's midway through this month. So if you want to ask questions, that's going to be live. I think it might be 7 or 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 14th. I haven't put it in YouTube as an event yet, but I will when it gets a little closer. And that way, if you want, you can ask questions then. But I figured what I do for that one is talk about how the Plan As You Go is working, how Planner Bootcamp and Plan Your Piece have changed how I look at things and what I think so far, because April was sort of a test month for a lot of different things. I tested a lot of different things. This month is where I've been putting real things into action. And I found it to be really helpful so far. I mean, it's helping. And I hope y'all have a good weekend, and I'll see you Sunday evening sometime. Might be late Sunday evening with a Plan As You Go. Bye, y'all.